What's going on, guys? Roger here, QVO Tactical. In today's video, we are bringing you guys what you've been asking for. We're going to be checking out 3 different budget double stack 1911/2011, whatever you want to call it. But we're going to be checking out 3 different budget options, and we're putting 500 rounds through all of them to see how they do side by side. Without further ado, let's get into it. So before we get started, I always like to tell you guys how I go about getting products on the channel for review. When it comes to this Tisas B9R DS, I actually purchased this one online for about $675. The other one that you saw in the initial video, that was sent to us from our friends over at AIM Surplus, but it's now over with Vinny at Monsoon Tactical getting some work done for an upcoming video. This is the second one that we got, and I did purchase it for this video. Now, when it comes to the Live Free Armory Apollo 11, I did purchase this from our friends over at Ventura Munitions. If you guys aren't familiar, Ventura Munitions is a local shop here in town. Definitely check them out if you're a local. If not, they do have an online presence. But our buddy Mikey over there runs that shop, and he did hook us up with an industry price on this. But we did purchase this one, as well as the Mac 9 DS from Ventura Munitions. Both of those we did get a discount on because we are in the industry, so do keep that in mind. But we did pick these up, and he still has some in stock, and you can get them over at Ventura Munitions. We appreciate the support from Mike and his team. Now, without further ado, let's get into the first rounds. Now it's time for first rounds, guys. We are going to do this Pepsi Challenge style. So I have the B9R DS. We're going to shoot this left target over here. The Live Free Armory Apollo 11 will shoot the center target, and the Mac 9 DS we will shoot the right target. 10 rounds loaded up in each mag, and I have shot a full video on this Tisas B9R DS already, but I do want to shoot it just to get a feel for it in comparison with the other 2. So here you go, first rounds on, well, I should say first rounds again on the B9R DS. All in the alpha, felt just as good as the first time. Now, one that we have not shot yet, the Apollo 11 from Live Free Armory. Here we go, center target. Guns and battery, let's see what that was. Can you grab that one for me? We just got a light primer strike.
It might have been slightly out of battery because it's off center.
So we got off center light primer strike on the third round. Turn this dot up as well. And dropping it on the slide stop. Let's jam it up that round. There we go. All the way back into battery. Let's see. Bull barrel, that grouping is super tight. We'll go up there and look in a second. So hopefully that's just, you know, getting the gun broken in. We haven't lubed them up or anything. Literally just took them out of the box, put an optic on and started firing. But I'm definitely liking the accuracy on that. Using the thumb clip because this can also take a full-size weapon light as it has a full-length rail. And now for the Mac 9 DS from Military Armament Corporation. And we'll shoot the right target here. Much longer trigger, something I like, similar to my staccatos. That felt really good. The longer trigger, I feel like it's easier to reset and get back to the wall because my finger's already out at that length, if that kind of makes sense for you guys. Let's go look at these groups real quick. So, 10 yards out, guys. Everything's in the alpha here for the Tisas B9R DS. The Live Free Armory, though, I mean, we're talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that little group right there is 4 rounds alone. We still have to get these guns zeroed up, but that's pretty awesome. And then I got to zero this one as well, but that's still really good too. We're talking fist size, just shooting. So as far as like groupings go, I'm going to bench rest these, zero them, and then show you guys a grouping at 10 and then a grouping at 25 yards so we can really see what they're doing. But for now, I mean, they all feel pretty good. I will say on the Mac 9 DS, I do like the that the trigger's further out. It's not as far back. And that's just for the size of my hand and what I'm used to. But they all do feel pretty good. I'm gonna have Landon hop up now. Landon hasn't shot he wasn't here for the Tisas video, so this will actually be his first rounds on that gun as well. But let's see what he thinks. All right, Landon's first rounds. Go for it, bud. Tisas B9R DS. So those are literally your first rounds. What do you think?
It's actually really smooth, like a lot smoother than I was anticipating, because you're not really getting the full steel rail in the bottom of the gun, so I want more weight up in the front. And this is a bushing barrel 2011. So I thought it was just gonna have a little more flip, but the gun actually settled really, really good. How much was this one?
I bought that one online for $675. Right?
I like that one. Let's see what else is going on, but that one actually surprised me.
All right, the Live Free Armory Apollo 11.
Oh, so just failure to go in the battery.
So hopefully that's just a break-in period, guys.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see. Oh. Oh, dead trigger. So
you were noticing a little hang up in the disconnector, right?
Yeah, previously, and that's common with a lot of these Cerakoted guns. They'll get gummed up around the disconnector because that coating starts to wear off eventually, and then that just like slurry just ends up gumming up in all the parts that move, which is not what you want. But the recoil impulse felt good. Our group is not as good as Roger's, though. I'll tell you that much. I'm a little rusty.
All right, B9R DS, last one.
Oh,
there you go. So same thing here.
I think I'm causing all the malfunctions today.
It's all right.
All right, going hot. So this probably going to be my favorite one so far. I don't know if you want me to.
That's fine.
Yeah. Settled way faster back on a target. Trigger, I actually like that farther reach forward. It doesn't make me put too much input on the gun, and it settled back on a target a lot quicker than even the Live Free Armory. And I'm thinking it's going to be because of the maybe the spring rate that they have in this gun. It's just a little bit better sprung. This one might be just a little bit too light on the recoil spring, in my opinion. But
we're going to do about 500 rounds today, so we'll get our opinions a little more informed throughout the range session.
Yeah, definitely. But so far, this one is definitely interesting.
All right, Marco, you need no introduction, bud. Go for it. Shoot the B9R DS a second time.
Back to the Tisas. Green dots. Still shoots good, just like last time. Especially for that price point. Let's try the new Apollo here.
So yours went all the way in the battery, yep?
Yeah.
Cool.
Right, the bat, it's kind of sprung a little light for my liking. That's an easy fix though, just recoil spring. But shoots good. These usually get some issues in the first beginning because the 2011s, they do need to break in like a 1911, so completely normal. This is so far the smoothest, the Mac. You can tell by the rig it's sprung right now in the bull barrel, which makes it easy.
You see that, Landon? We broke them in for him, dude.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we loosened that jar for you. We loosened that jar for you, Marco.
Yeah. No issues.
I am the malfunction.
Yeah. All right, let's look. So Landon's groups from before were all alpha. Marco's the only one that threw some Charlies.
I was trying to aim for the lower end, you know, keep it safe. Yeah.
All alpha here.
Yeah.
All alpha there.
Yeah. I was aiming for the empty spots on the target.
You're trying to stand out.
It's because you can't get a full light on the Tisas.
Yeah. That's nice. God. That's one Surefire X300. Come on. Come on.
Now with these three guns having different barrels, meaning the Tisas B9R DS has a bushing barrel and the other two have bull barrels, I figured we'd get the guns zeroed up, which we already did. We zeroed every gun at 10 yards, and now we're going to shoot different groups. So we'll shoot all three guns 10 round groups at 10 yards, and then we'll go back to 25 yards and shoot some 5 round groups and see how we do, just to see how the accuracy is between the three. We are shooting some Supervail 115. We're shooting both factory new and remanufactured from the team over at Supervail today. Guys, Supervail's come on board to help us out with their ammunition needs. They're a local Vegas company, so definitely show them some love if you're a Vegas local. But they are cranking out numbers, guys. We're talking over 200,000 rounds of 9mm daily. We've been shooting a plethora of it here on the range. In addition to that, they also make a bunch of 223 factory new and reman that we've been using we just used some in that Crink video. So if you guys are looking for some ammo, whether it be, you know, your 115 range stuff or your specialty, their Hush Puppy 147 grain for your suppressed stuff, definitely give them some support and check them out. So without further ado, 115s, 10 yards out. First up, B9R DS. Here we go. We're gonna shoot the left bullseye. good from here. Now for the Live Free Armory Apollo 11. Bring this down a little bit. We'll be shooting the right bullseye. Here we go. Got a few touching just under the bullseye. Trying to keep the cadence about the same pace. Now let's do the last one. Just keep it. Last up, bottom target, B9R DS. All right, let's go down and take a look. Down here at the target, guys, again, this was only 10 yards out. Honestly, they all did pretty dang good. For me, when we were shooting our initial first rounds, the Apollo 11 grouped the best for me, which is odd because I have two separate groups. But again, still super tight. We got, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 6 rounds touching here.
Up in there, yeah.
The Tisas, that did great. And you know, even the B9R DS did really great. But you being the gunsmith over at Ventura Munitions, you guys heard me talk about Ventura where we picked up these guns earlier, their local shop as well. Landon, if you're in the shop, stop by, say hi. Landon's actually the gunsmith over there. So I feel like you're more qualified to kind of explain to our audience, you know, the difference between a bushing barrel and a bull barrel.
So basically on most of your 1911s, 2011s, what's always been the case is a bushing. So it's a metal plate that indexes the barrel in the front of the slide, and you'll see that. And you'll see a plunger in the front, which you'll use to disassemble the gun. And if you ever go look at one in the shop, you'll see it. But the issue with a bushing is if that's not precision fit, the end of the barrel locks up into that right before the round leaves the barrel. So if the precision fit isn't there and it's just wobbling in the front, that's not going to be a very accurate 1911, 2011. So in this case, I mean, that gun is actually fit pretty well to its bushing. If you can ever pick up a bushing gun and actually move the barrel when it's in battery, that's not going to be an accurate gun at all. And then bull barrels typically are a little more consistent because, again, the front side is now going to index off the end of that bull barrel. There's a taper there. Whenever you rack the side back, you'll see it's gradual from the chamber to the actual crown of the barrel. It tapers out. So that slide indexes on that consistently every single time, and you're usually going to get pretty good accuracy. But oddly enough, today that Turkish 2011 actually is properly fitted, and you can see.
If you watched our first video, you know, Marco's off camera right now, but you were like talking about how the fit and finish was actually pretty dang good.
Pretty good.
For being a $700 gun.
That shows it.
When I was watching you print that group, I was like, wow. You know, because most of the time my money's always going to be on a bull barrel gun. Because also too, a bull barrel gun for competition guys, more weight up in the front of the gun settles quicker. It's going to dissipate heat a little bit better. And you typically get more accuracy off of it.
Will you also kind of go over, because my understanding when I got into the 1911 game was that bull barrels will outlast bushing barrels. Is there any truth, or is that just a myth?
It just all depends on materials that the barrels are made from.
Gotcha.
You know, at the end of the day, like, yeah, if it's a lower grade steel, that bushing will eventually wear a little bit more, and it can, you know, open up over time, because you're asking that plate to index on the barrel. And bull barrels are like just a larger chunk of steel indexed in the front of the slide.
And you guys will see in the B-roll, like, it is significantly thicker when you're looking at a bull barrel.
You will know when you see one in store. But like I said, it still stands true though. If you're able to touch a bushing barrel in 1911 and you can wobble that barrel around its in battery, that gun's probably not gonna shoot that good. But this one in this case actually shoots really, really good. So
guys, I had another question in a previous video, why do I zero at 10 yards? To me, 30 feet out is probably where I would be, you know, having to defend myself if ever faced the deadly encounter. So that's why I zero at this distance. Some people do, I think you do 15.
I do 15.
Some people do 25. It's all personal preference, guys. So for me, all three of these guns are, the accuracy is on point for all three of them. Now we're gonna take it out to 25 yards. You know, you guys are seeing this. I know you guys always hear me, it's windy. Well, it is windy today, but we're gonna see how we do bench rested at 25.
That'll really like show a difference for sure.
25 yards back now, guys. Got the B9R DS loaded up with some Super Veil 115. I'm using the Hollow Sun SCS on this. the enclosed emitter. I do notice that with how bright the dot is, I can't really adjust it because it's solar powered. It's kind of taking up the whole center, so I'll do my best. I'm going to shoot it bench rested off of this CTK Precision Compact Bench Rest. I get a lot of questions about it, so for those wondering, CTK Precision, Charlie Tom King picked it up off Amazon. I've been using it for years and it's pretty awesome. I'm going to shoot the top left target. You guys should be seeing it through the iPhone camera recording up there. You ready, Gil?
Ready.
Let's get a little adjusted here. There we go. All right, here we go. Shoot groups of 10 just so we can get a better grouping down there, see what we're doing. All right, next up is going to be the Live Free Armory. Live Free Armory Apollo 11 on the top right target. Here we go. Last up, B9R DS in the bottom target. Here we go. All right, let's go take a look. Down here at the target 25 yards away and looking at the 3 different targets, I had to actually go back and look at the footage of this one. This shot here and this shot here were actually doubles. So we do have a total of 10 rounds in the 6-inch circle, which yes, I'm happy about for a $675 2011 hitting 25 yards out. I'm happy that we're within the 6-inch circle here, but getting a perfect double here and a perfect double here, that kind of leads me to what Landon was talking about earlier with the bushing barrel, having a little bit of play, not being as accurate. Yep. Would that be a fair statement?
It's a good statement, yeah. Pretty fair.
Not as consistent as a bull barrel would be, typically.
So like we shot that H&K video Marco was reminding me of, they have that O-ring, is that's you saying that's for that lockup?
HK, they like to put O-rings on their barrel to try to get the lockup as consistent as possible. That's why they recommend changing the O-ring every couple thousand rounds too. They want that lockup. So they kind of took that lesson and expanded it to a modern gun.
So not having that solid like tolerance and lockup is, in our opinion, what was causing these to be this big of a grouping. But again, guys, handgun at 25 yards hitting that, I'm still okay with that.
Very acceptable.
Moving over to Live Free Armory Apollo 11. So we noticed this being a bull barrel, but it's still kind of a wide grouping. And then as we got down here, Landon, you go ahead and take it away. You kind of noticed something.
Yeah, so I was inspecting the barrel because the lockup's tight, but at the crown of the barrel, which is literally the last portion where the projectile touches, there's burrs throughout the whole end of that crown, which is never what you want to see. That's going to cause like inconsistencies when the gas expands at the muzzle, and that's going to cause wild deviation. So consistency is key for accuracy, and if that gas expands funky at the end of the barrel and not consistent, you're going to get a little bit of deviation in accuracy.
So again, not desirable, but still good.
Yep,
like
good.
you're
really
still getting all 10 rounds on a 6-inch target at 25 yards. Now moving into the B9R DS. We literally have 6 rounds touching here, 4 here. We did our best, guys, to, you know, with the wind being an issue, if you guys look down here, we have some shotgun shells wedged into this, trying to make this thing not move as much as it was. So we did our best. We always deal with wind here in Vegas. It is what it is. But, you know, having 6 rounds touch here, that's awesome. So the lockup is good. It's a bull barrel. I think as far as like the best accuracy between the 3, I mean, this shows to me it's going to be the B9R DS.
Absolutely.
But again, guys, I'm still okay with all of the accuracy on all of them because you're hitting a 6-inch target at 25 yards. All 3 of us will go back to 25 yard. I have a mini A-zone steel target, and we'll do some doubles on that and see how we're doing at 25 yards with that.
So pretty interesting note here. So most of the burring is going on the top of the crown here at the barrel. And then when you actually take a look at the groups that the Apollo 11 did, everything seemed to be lower on the target, even after we went ahead and zeroed the guns. So that's definitely going to have an impact on your accuracy. It's going to push the bullet one way or the other because you're not allowing that gas to expand just uniformly when the bullet leaves the barrel.
Back at 25, going to shoot some 8-inch mini A-zone steel target, and we're going to shoot the B9R DS first, do some doubles here at 25, see what kind of times we're getting. Here we go, stand by. .215, split of 0.68. Now I'm going to try the Apollo 11. All right, Apollo 11, here we go, stand by. .220, 6/8 split, and let's try the Mac 9 DS. Next up, Mac 9 DS, here we go. .193 with a 5/7 split. That was probably the quickest return to zero for me. So I'm gonna have Marco hop up. You can go try.
Oh, Tisas, B9R. .211, split of 4/6. Let's try the Apollo 11. .218, 4/2 split. Mac 9 DS. So .218, 4/7 split.
All right, first up we got the Tisas. Total time of 277 with a 6/8 split. Next up we got the Apollo 11 425. That was a 249 with a 5/4 split. Next up we got the Mac 9 DS. Total time of 239 and a 55 split.
Now you didn't think we'd film a 2011 video without some build drills, did you? We are going to run some build drills with the Mac 9 DS and the Apollo 11. We already did build drills with the B9R DS from Tisas. Definitely check that out in the original video. I think I was getting like 1.7 build drills then. But first up, Mac 9 DS. Here we go. Stand by. That felt really good. 1.9. Best split was a 14. And we are looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Line breaker 6, all alpha. So, all alpha in a 1.9. All right, now for the Apollo 11. Here we go. Stand by. Trigger freeze through a Delta 191. Splits are pretty insane with this one though. I got an 11 split in there. That trigger freeze was a 0.31. But I saw this 1 Delta, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So all alpha, 1 Delta. I want to run it one more time, but a 191. I'll go one more. So I'm noticing the grip angle is a little weird. Me and Marco were kind of talking about it. And when I present, I'm almost feeling like Glock, where I have to come out here and then move my wrist forward a little bit. And that's where I'm kind of shooting high on those first drills. But I got 201. Best split there was a 16. And all alpha, 1 Charlie. So, but just something I'm noticing my natural point of aim. I'm having to, when I present, I come here and then I have to bring it down a little bit. So I might, if I was to pick this up, I might change out the grip, and we'll talk about that in the final thoughts.
Hey guys, Marco here with the Tisas. We're going to do a quick trigger breakdown. So there's a nice little wall right here. Break, reset, we'll go back to the wall. Break, reset, wall, break, reset. Pretty good. You can do doubles. One thing I don't like about it personally, it's kind of set back a little farther than some other guns, so it's good for short hands or short fingers, but for me I usually like mine farther out, mainly because it's better consistency for my pressure pad on my finger at least. But we'll see the other guns, check it out. So we got the Apollo up with the trigger breakdown. The pre-travel is very minimal there, so pre-travel as usual with 2011. Break, good reset, good wall, break, wall, break. Let's try to rip a double. So with me, it's a little bit shorter actually, so this trigger comes in shorter to the gun, which is usually, as you can see, my pressure pad's a little all the way back. So it's making my consistency shooting the trigger a little bit weird, but pretty good for small hands, medium hands, it's just fine. That's just one of the little nitpicky things. We'll try another gun. So we got the Mac 9 up, nice and long trigger bow. Pre-travel, break, pre-travel, break. Resets nice and quick as always with 2011, so pre-travel, break. Trigger's nice and long, so for my hand size, it actually, you can really shoot this gun very easily.
Now when it comes to holster fitment, guys, I want to go over this for you real quick. Out here on the range, we are using our QVO Tactical secondary OWB holster. This one has a QLS fork on the back from Safariland. That way you can switch it out between belts very easily among the 3 shooters that we had here on the range. Same style of holster here with a different fabric overlay. This is the donut sprinkle overlay, and it has the angled belt loop option for just a regular belt. But I did bring this holster to show you guys that it's set up for a staccato with that Parker Mount machine comp. So for staccato 2011, goes right in, clicks, is good to go. If you were to take the Tisas with a weapon light, it would fit. Check out the full video on the Tisas where we're able to do that. Unfortunately, with it having the shorter rail, can't show you here. Now, the Mac 9 DS, same exact fitment as the staccato. Didn't have to adjust anything. Now, we did notice with the Live Free Armory Apollo 11, the tolerances are just slightly different. So dimensionally, it feels like it's a little bit wider, so it's extremely snug going in, and it's not going to go. You're going to need to loosen the retention screws on the holster, and you're going to need to loosen them a lot, or even get larger spacers from us if you're running this holster and it won't go. With them all the way loosened, I can get it going. Yeah, there we go. So just loosening them up, nice smooth draw, clicks right in, and it's good to go. So with our holster, since it has this adjustable retention feature, you're gonna be able to run all 3 or 4 of these 1911 double stack / 2011 guns in the same holster. Hey guys, before we hop into the final thoughts, this is actually after we filmed the whole video, so final thoughts and everything like that's already been filmed. But we were out on the range and just plinking around with the Apollo 11 and the other 2 guns, and we started having some issues that I wanted to make sure you guys were aware of. I'm going to do this all in one take, that way you guys can see. We just loaded up a mag and we started noticing the trigger's not really engaging, so when I come up, gun's loaded, try to run a string of fire, like I'm engaging the safety, I'm pressing, and nothing is happening. So I don't know if maybe the sear spring is installed incorrectly. I will say with a lot of this playing the trigger, I don't know if it's getting gunked up in there, but we're noticing we're trying to run some strings of fire, and like you just don't know when it's going to go off. I have Marco hop up here now. You try, bud.
Let's see.
So where's it? Was it
on and off, dead. Can't pull through, and then it works again. Dead. Rear safety is engaged on the tail. Finally went off. Yeah, it's getting up. There's a hitch point in there. You can feel it. So.
Let me see. So again, going back to what we originally talked about with this play and like fit and finish and tolerances and stuff, you know, I think maybe changing out the grip, taking a look at what's inside. I'll reach out to Live Free Armory and see what they say. Probably do an update video. I do want to get this thing ported, and I wanted to do another video with it and kind of just, you know, do some upgrades to it and see what we can get this thing really doing as far as like build drills and stuff like that. But I'll reach out to them, see what they say. It is, you know, strange that we're probably...
It's really grindy when you're pulling.
Yeah, we ran like 500, actually probably like 600 rounds now total today, and we're probably 300 rounds into this gun, and that's what we're experiencing. See, it's going now. But I mean, you really have to get on this beaver tail safety. Like this one I'd want pinned. So, is there anything left in that mag? Let's get another mag. We're gonna load another mag for you guys right up here and just show you. But I just wanna see if it's gonna go. And again, I want this all one take so you guys are seeing it as it's happening. But, you know, coming out here shooting these guns, guys, I want to make sure that you guys are seeing everything that we're doing on the range. So again, this portion is, you're about to watch our final thoughts, which, you know, there's a lot of things that I do like about the gun, especially the aesthetics and stuff. But, you know, when you guys watch the final thoughts, I want you to now have these issues in consideration with it. Just maybe like 5 rounds.
It's like 16 or something.
Okay, so we got over 10 in here. Try now. Yeah, so like I anticipated the recoil and dipped it down, and then the trigger went through. Yeah, see, just got hammer fall. So hammer went, nothing happened. Like I'm feeling a reset there, or sorry, a wall, break, no break. Like I'm having to squeeze the shit out of that trigger. And now we're getting not cycling and going into battery. So I don't know. I don't think it's a cleaning issue with all of that happening. We already lubed it up with some gun butter. So here you guys see. But yeah, again, we'll reach out to Live Free Armory and see what they say. You know, perfect opportunity to see how customer service working with those guys. You know, for the most part of the range, it did work really well. We shot some good build drills and other drills with it, but you know, after about 300 rounds, we're starting to see some issues. We will keep you guys updated. All right, I'm gonna have Marco and Landon give their final thoughts first. Go for it, guys.
Good.
Okay. So out of all three, I would definitely say the Mac DS was probably my favorite. I mean, out of the box, I don't think you have to really do too much to it. It's good to go. Like, trigger's great, grip module is awesome, wouldn't change that. All standard things you probably do. Even the sear and disconnector, like nothing's sticking in there. It's a bull barrel gun, and we saw today, like it prints some really good groups.
It puts up numbers.
Yeah, like actually really impressive. For being a $1,000, about $1,000 gun. Yeah, about $1,000 gun. I don't really have to get into too much more about it. This is definitely something that I would pick up myself. But for the money in between these two, I mean, for $700, if you're just getting into 2011s, this outshoots majority of things in that price point. Like look in a gun cabinet at a gun store like Ventura Munitions. There's a bunch of guns around that $650 to $700 price point, and this will probably stack up with them having no problems. Takes a standard mag, standard components if you want to change them. But yeah, and I'll leave it to you on the rest. Oh yeah, the Apollo 11. I did enjoy shooting this gun. There's a couple things that I'd want to change personally. It's just because I'm a kind of gear nerd about that kind of stuff, so I'm looking at it from a mechanic standpoint. Most of you buying the gun, it's going to shoot and do everything you want it to do. So don't look into it too much. But like you know, the recoil spring, I feel like you're going to want to buy a different pack of spring rates for this. Maybe adjust the trigger, buy something else for the grip module, but still a solid gun again.
Yep, pretty simple. The Tisas, good gun. Things I don't like, the rail is short, as the last video, and then the cut is not an RMR cut. If it's a 2011, it should just be an RMR cut, because it's America. Everyone uses an RMR these days, that cut pattern at least. Shoots good though. Solid gun for the money. The Apollo looks really pretty. I would change some things on all these guns. Honestly, I'd pin the rear beaver tail safety, which is normal for a 2011 when you shoot a lot of them. They all ran every mag we tried, not picky with ammo. A little bit of break-in periods on some of these, which is kind of normal for a 2011. So just get used to that with these guns. It's like driving a Ferrari, not like a Glock, which is like a Corolla, like a Toyota, but these guns, a little more love needed. The Mac is definitely my favorite, just like Landon. It just got all the features already. And the trigger bar is actually farther out, which actually helps you shoot a little bit easier for speed and everything. So it just, for that optimal trigger angle. And bigger red dot cut, full rail, it just shoots good. Couldn't go wrong with all three, but my first preference, the Mac, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Now for my final thoughts, guys. First off, I think all three of these are great options for entry level into the 2011, 1911 double stack arena. So definitely keep that in mind. But I think it depends on the person picking them up. For example, if you are somebody that has been a diehard Glock or M&P polymer shooter, striker fire shooter your whole life, but you're like, hey, you know, the 1911, 2011 kind of interests me. I want to get into that arena. I would go with the Tisas B9R DS. The reason being, like, I ordered this online for 675 bucks. You can pick one of these up from Ventura for 700 bucks. And for that price point, even though it does have the short rail, I know you guys are asking about weapon lights. We are working on getting keys. That way you'll be able to run X300, TLR1, and the PID from HoloSun, so we're working on that. You'll be able to, for $7, you'll be able to run a full-size light. But having that short rail, not being able to use a light right out of the box, not liking that. That does suck. I do like that it is direct cut for an optic, but I don't like that it is RMSC. Luckily, HoloSun does make a lot of cool optics in that 507K RMSC footprint, and I like that it co-witnesses with the irons. That's a huge thing for me. I like having redundancies with my sights. But the grip is great. The lockup is really nice. You guys saw with the bushing barrel versus the bull barrel, though, you know, the difference in accuracy versus this and the Mac 9 DS. But if you're somebody that's like, hey, you know, it's a little intimidating thinking about getting a $2,700 Staccato or a $1,700 Prodigy, 700 bucks, that's around close to Glock pricing. I think you're gonna be happy with this. Now, if you're somebody that's like, hey, like, I've shot a few 2011s, but I just don't have the bankroll to jump into that Staccato or above, well, you have the Apollo 11. It looks really cool. I think aesthetically, it's the best one on the table. The grip looks great, but I'm not a fan of the quality of the grip. The grip feels a little brittle, and what I mean by that, it's like super hard plastic. I could see like print lines. I don't know if it was 3D printed or not, but the other thing with it is you can see gaps. Like the fit and finish of this isn't as tight tolerance as the other twos. Like you'll see wider gaps where the grip mates up with the gun. In addition to that, that's the trigger wiggling, the trigger and the trigger bar. I'm wondering, I was talking to Marco about it, I think they might be trying to go for like something that's a universal fit with different triggers across the board that we're thinking maybe. But you know, the other ones, when you look at them, you're not getting any wiggle with the triggers. So I feel like the fit and finish on these two is a little better than this. The slide though, I do like that they did serrations all the way almost back to the ejection port. That's something I really enjoy. I do like that they did a direct cut. Again, it's that RMSC footprint. Not sure why they went that route, but I do like that I can have irons that I can actually utilize through the window of the optic and get a co-witness there. The full rail, I like it. I like that they tapered at the end. I like that it's a full dust cover and it's flush with the end of the muzzle. So aesthetics are all there for me with this gun. The trigger, I was able to run this probably the fastest. So I did like the trigger, but you know, function-wise, that didn't do anything. But aesthetically and fit and function, or sorry, just fitment and aesthetics, I know people are going to complain about that. It doesn't sound like quality. It sounds cheap when you have something like that. In addition to that, I like these window cuts here, but I feel like there's a missed opportunity. Like I wish they put ports in there, or I wish they made that an offering. You guys know I'm gonna reach out to Vinny or Jeremy at Vulcan and see if some of them, if one of them can mill or laser us out some ports in there. And I'll probably change out the grip and bring this back out to the range. The guys were saying they probably put a different spring in it as well. But I still think you can pick this up for 950 bucks at Ventura Munitions, and I think that's pretty dang awesome to be able to get something like this for under $1,000. It only needs a few things, in my opinion, to make it like exactly where I'd want it. So, but I definitely dig the aesthetic of it, and again, shooting it between 10 and 25, I was happy with those groups. Now, for the person that's like, hey, I want the closest thing I can get to a Staccato without having to pay the Staccato price, that's where I think the Mac 9 DS comes in. My only gripe about this gun is just their optic plate. It has irons, I believe it's a Glock rear sight, but they didn't put in irons that are suppressor height, that way it can co-witness. I tried an RMR, tried an SRO, ended up going with the HoloSun 507C with the ACSS reticle, and the irons don't co-witness. So the irons are just as tall as the optic. They're not tall enough that you can actually use them, so it kind of makes it pointless to me why even have them. I wish that they would send the gun with suppressor height sights out of the box, because Landon will tell you, putting in this front dovetail sight on 1911 sucks. I don't enjoy doing that. But fit and finish on this, the gun, you can see the grip is much tighter, the tolerances on it are much tighter, and I do like that the trigger was a little further out. You'll see in the, you saw in the breakdown with Marco doing the trigger breakdown how, you know, just having the trigger a little further out for us, it's a world of difference. So for, I think this is $1,050 at Ventura Munitions, but you're getting the gun, a very similar grip to a Staccato, you're getting a mag well, you're getting an optic plate system, so I'm hoping that they're going to have other optic plates for different footprints, and you're getting a 3/4 dust cover rail that's going to allow you to run full-size weapon lights. So you have, again, $700, $950, $1,050. Again, if you're somebody just getting into the 1911-2011 world and you're not sure if you're going to keep going in that route, that direction, I would get this and use the other $300 to get yourself some ammo. If you're somebody that's like, hey, I've dabbled a little bit and I really like the aesthetic and appeal of this, then I would pick up the Apollo 11. If you're somebody that's like, hey man, I really dig, you know, honestly a Staccato P, but I don't have the money to get it, this is about as close as you're going to get in my opinion, or near $1,000. Everything else is going to be $1,500 plus, if not $2,000. Now don't get me wrong guys, I wouldn't take any 3 of these over my Staccato. I have, like I said in previous videos, I have a bunch of Staccatos, but you know, fit, function, like the fact that, you know, people are individually going over these things and hand tuning them is what you're paying for when you buy a Staccato, so understand that. But I think for how these guys performed on the range, they're all definitely awesome purchases for that price point. So if you're somebody that, if you're somebody that's been looking for a 1911 double stack or 2011, these are the 3 that I would take a look at. If you guys have some other recommendations, leave them down below. Again, we appreciate Mike and the team over at Ventura Munitions, Landon, for coming out and shooting with us and kind of giving his perspective from the gunsmithing side. But if you're a Vegas local, hit them up. If not, they have an online presence. We appreciate you guys watching. As always, we'll see you in the next one. Hey guys, back in studio. We actually do have an update on this Apollo 11. Reached out to our buddies over at Ventura Munitions and let them know what they had going on. Mike over at Ventura actually made me aware that they had 2 other customers that purchased guns from them in the same batch that started having the same issues. Looks like to be something with the grip maybe. We're starting to see a pretty good gap here in the grip to where you can actually see through and out to the other side of the gun. So wondering if something happened with the grip, maybe it's out of spec, something like that. But they already got us a call tag within 24 hours for this gun to be sent back to Live Free Armory so they can take a look. So definitely good to see that kind of customer service from a new company. But we will keep you updated. We'll make a full update video, probably get this thing tricked out a little bit and get it working back from Live Free Armory and see what the issues were. But I did want to let you guys know that we were able to reach out to them through Ventura Munitions since we purchased the gun there, and we're able to get a hold of somebody and get this already going in the process of getting it fixed and ready to go. But as always guys, I love to have full transparency here on the channel, so you know, for the first 300 rounds, the gun did great. After that, we started having issues with that trigger, and again, like I said out there on the range, I think it's just something with the tolerance of the trigger having that play, and something maybe getting in the way of the trigger bar in addition to the grip. But we won't know until we hear back from Live Free Armory, but seems like we might be in good hands seeing how they responded so quickly. But appreciate you guys, as always, checking out the video, and again, we'll keep you updated. Thanks.